Good evening and welcome to Arsenal Above All. How are you feeling? Wow, what a Sunday. What a result. What a performance. We're all buzzing here. Can't wait to get into this one. Not been feeling well again and wanted to sort of not this game on the head, not this one on the head, I should say. Maybe do a pod later in the week. But after the performance of the boys and the way they turned up, we had to have a chat about it. And I've got my good man Bez Kelmendi back with me. How you doing, Bez?
Superman, Cloud9, what can I say? Cloud9.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And I've got the man, Neil. He's changed his name again by deed poll. Neil, champions, no fair, elect. Shah, and he's pointing at the badge. You should be doing that. You should be doing that, really, like the Starboy Saka, what he did to Rashford. Brilliant celebration, obviously mimicking what he did before. Guys, I don't know what to say. We keep on reaching different levels of superlatives to explain the performances of this wonderful bunch of players that Mikel Arteta's put together. 3-2 win over our old arch rivals. It was like a return to the old days. I'm sure you remember the game we won 3-2 against them at Highbury with Nelka scoring and Vieira scoring and Platt with his goal right at the last minute, or near it towards the end. I'll start with you, Bez, because you haven't been on for a while. You called me and you were quite emotional. You was quite excited, I should say. You was quite excited on the phone to me and everything. How are you feeling now? And what can you say about that performance tonight?
Well, first of all, great win, great desire shown, great team effort all around, and great stuff from the manager once again.
Yeah.
The way we contained them, the way, it was 1-0 to them, 1-1, 2-1 to us, 2-2. Didn't let the heads drop. To win 3-2 the way we did it, just super stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
What more can I say?
Yeah, I mean, I think as we touched on them before, Neil, we've showed another way to win. We've been tested again. There's been another question thrown at us. This time, going behind, it was very similar to the Liverpool game, where it went back and forth, and then we ended up getting a goal. Not this late, but within the game by the same scoreline. But yeah, what was your thoughts on the performance? I mean, how big is it? Well, to me, it felt a lot more seismic than the Liverpool one because maybe it happened a bit later into the season at the stage where we are. But what did you feel? What was your thoughts when you blew the whistle?
It's all right, wasn't it? Average. Seismic, yes, huge. I actually feel that now this is probably the biggest game of our season.
Yeah.
Quite simply, because it tested us on two different levels. We went behind to a wonderful goal. Have to admit, it was a wonderful goal. Rashford's on fire. I was worried about him going into this game, saying that we need to keep him quiet. Remember on the pod that we did last time, I did mention that he was the one that we needed to keep quiet. And when that ball went in the way he struck that, I thought, oh, God. So I did have a tiny bit of fear at that point. Partey could have done a bit better, but at the end of the day, I can't take it away from him. That was a wonderful strike from a player who's on top form. And I thought, oh, dear. But then, our character showed up again, yet again. Mr. Richard Keys, Gary Neville. Oh, I can roll them off my tongue now. Yeah, Rio Ferdinand, the whole lot of them, the whole lot of those absolute utter twats. Sorry to swear, Michael. I'll take that back. You can edit it.
That's fine, man. That's fine.
But it makes my blood boil. All these people trying to put us down constantly, and what was annoying. So I'm going to digress a little bit here because I am very passionate at the moment. All season we have been on top, and everyone was saying we haven't been tested yet. Simple. They're still saying we've still got to play City twice. No. They have to play us twice. Not we have to play them twice. They have to play, because I'll tell you something for free. No team in this league now will want to face us. No team, right? Because of what happened today, especially what happened today, but also what's been happening for the whole season. And then the way Man United started, and then they started gaining a little bit of momentum and a bit of form under Ten Hag. Oh, they're title contenders now. Oh, they're title. But nothing was ever said about us when we were constantly doing it game after game. And I just wanted to get that out there because that makes my blood boil. It really does. Let me tell you something else for free. We are winning this league. There is no question in my mind. I couldn't care less what anyone else says. This league is ours, and I don't care if you want to call me deluded or whatever you want to call me, because that character, we came back from behind. That's something else that, you know, we were struggling with in seasons past. Then we went in front, and then they came back again. And we still played so well, so professionally. They didn't panic. They didn't start doing long balls high into the air, hoofing the ball, panicking, making mistakes. They stuck to their game plan. They know their scripts. They know what their responsibilities are. They know, each and every one of them know what to do as an individual and what to do as a team. And they stuck to it. And my goodness me, the way we pummeled them in the last, 15, 20 minutes to get that winner, because, you know, by rights, I think there's most of the teams out there in the league at the moment wouldn't mind a draw against Man United the way they're playing. But we decided, no, that's not good enough. We have to win every single game. I remember the Invincible season, and Thierry Henry said, how we approached that season was we were winning every game. That there was just no negotiation. It was not negotiable. That's Arteta's favourite phrase. He said we were winning every game, and that's that is what I'm seeing with this squad of players and this group of players.
Yeah.
They're so hungry. But what I liked about this compared to the Old Trafford clash is they didn't panic.
Yeah,
and they just kept to it, and they carried on playing their game. And you know, all of them. I'm sorry, they all played brilliantly, but that was a great master class by Arteta, taking off White and bringing on Tommy. At first, there was a few raised eyebrows with that, but Tommy Asu was fantastic. He played brilliant. Zinchenko is on a different planet. Saka is, he's well over 100 million player now, without a doubt for me, in this crazy world of money. Just so many that you can number, but I've gone on far too long. As you can tell, I'm satisfied.
I totally everything you said there is spot on. You know, I thought Tommy Asu obviously looks a bit shaky coming on, and funny enough, I think it was after the goal, their equalising goal, that he seemed to suddenly be on the front foot more. He was pressing a lot more up in their half. He wasn't as you know, dropping back too much, and then that was obviously making Rashford go the other way a lot more. But he returned to the form that we know of Tommy Asu before the World Cup break and of last season. But for me, I mean, I think there's a lot of parallels to the United game performance. At Old Trafford, I think we played better, as you know, the football was a lot more fluid then. But I think we just were a lot more smarter. We obviously a lot more cuter.
Can I just say, just on that, I'm sorry to interrupt. You're right, because I was thinking that after the game, I was thinking actually we probably played better, ironically, in the game we lost. But then you've got to remember, Man United weren't playing as well as they are now.
As well they are now.
Take that into consideration.
Yeah, they always had that danger. You know, they had that danger that with Rashford, obviously the goal that he scored. Again, we kind of messed up, gave the ball away. But it was a great finish from him. But again, we had a question asked of us. We came back. I was going to call him a nasty name, but I wouldn't. But this geezer obviously tried it, you know, with his usual antics again. Obviously, he chucked himself over for a penalty to try and win a penalty, and then he did a bit where he kicked out at Gabriel. He actually kicked his arm. And it was funny for me because the referee spent more time talking to Gabriel, and I don't think he spoke to Fernandes once, you know, about the whole situation. It was obviously a coming together, but you would have thought that he would have had a chat with the other person involved in this situation. But he just spoke to Gabriel, and he allowed Fernandes to crack on and do, you know, crack on with the game. But you talk about the main man for me. Obviously, Saka's goal and his performance was just unbelievable. And yes, Neil, if a certain Ukrainian is worth £97 million, I mean, you're talking his priceless levels. You know, I don't think there's anything that you can put a price tag on this kid and his performance. But before we talk about him, obviously the star boy is Eddie Nketiah, because what a lot of people are saying now about Eddie is, you know, he's undroppable. You know, how do you drop him? How does Jesus come back into that side? And I think we said that a couple of weeks ago on the pod about, you know, Eddie, if he's scoring goals and he's going to get better and better playing around these players, getting more confidence. Imagine the kid's confidence tonight, you know, going home and watching it back and coming to training the next day, whatever. Someone was saying to me, you know, who do you play? And I was like, well, the good thing is that obviously Jesus offers different, you know, maybe an all-round game to Eddie, but you can't if he's doing what he's doing, you can't drop him. He's the best finisher we've got at the club. He's probably one of the best finishers in the Premier League, you know, in terms of the way he's able to get goals, like he did. I don't know. I mean, the good thing with Jesus is that he can play left or right, can't he, as well? So there's that rotation an aspect that we can bring Jesus in maybe to replace Saka or replace Martinelli and then Trossard as well. But I mean, yeah, he's undroppable now, Bez, wouldn't you say? I mean, you can rest him obviously for the FA Cup game coming up, but if Jesus was like available like next weekend or the weekend after, he's got to fight his way back in, surely. What do you think?
I totally agree. I mean, when Jesus comes back, he needs to realize that the team needs to be utilized based on the manager's, you know, discretion, given how well Ed is, you know, steadying the ship in his own merit. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of pressure. We know end of last year he had a great run in, you know, thanks to his desire to stay with the team, despite people said he might leave. Jesus, you know, stepped in his toes and said, sorry, this is my spotlight, you know.
Yeah.
I'll use both examples, even when I saw a few videos before the match going to this podcast, and how Saka seemed so hungry when he was asked by certain, you know, journalists, and he said, I'll take the challenge, you know. Hello, Freddie. Hello, Thierry, you know. And look, he delivered. And when I saw that goal, at least you're like, how do you do these goals? How do you get this foot, will be left or right? He does against Chelsea, against United. The boy doesn't know limits. It's like,
yeah.
And then he's given even Eddie the same compliment. He's like, look, this is your spotlight, mate. Yeah. This is the number you have at the back of your shirt. No pressure. Just keep going for it. And he actually works. It's amazing to see. He's like, how? And they're so young. I was just thinking to myself when I was 21, 20, you know, life before my eyes. But still, these boys just enjoy it, you know, linking themselves with old, you know, past players. It's like they get this like thrill with Neil. I mean, like they get this sort of injection. It's like, oh, Henry, you used to do that. I'll do it too. But look, he did it, and he's done like Saka, for example. He's done it three appearances against United in a row. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
What can I say? I mean, there's a lot we can speak about, but right now we can speak about the main two, which is Eddie and Saka. Just the way they complement each other is just amazing. It's like the way they link up is just clever. It's like, how does this? I don't know. I'm just lost for words right now. I'm still, you know, trying to sink it all in, you know.
Yeah, it's like the evolution of the team again. You know, obviously they were with Jesus. It was really quick. You know, he like sort of plugged him into like a power point, electricity point, and the team just went from there. But when Eddie came in, it was like a little bit of that reluctance to sort of feed him and play the ball up to him. You saw today when he was open, they were giving him the ball because they're comfortable with him in the team. Like, his confidence is up. They've got that trust in giving him the ball and knowing it's going to either stick or he's going to feed it on to someone else. So again, I think sort of that team chemistry. I don't think you could have, you know, mess around with that really. To be honest, that's why the game against City on the Friday is going to be interesting in terms of how he rotates it. I think, you know, he has to give Eddie a breather at some point, but. You know, do you know what does he do? What are the options? Does he play Trossard, you know, or Martinelli? I don't know. Yeah, it was a bit just touching on some of the players that were a little bit ropey, Neil. No, not in a negative side, but yeah, I thought Partey was a little bit shaky in the first half. Obviously, he got done for the goal, from Rashford's goal. But again, everyone just sort of up their levels in the second half. And I think the last 15 minutes, there was only one team trying to win it, wasn't there? It was just only one team. But was you a bit worried about the way we conceded the second goal? Because it seemed like a little bit of confusion there with Rashford, Ramsdale, and Tomiyasu.
You're always going to be worried, Michael. I mean, you know, it's such a big occasion. It's so important. We're gassed that we've taken the lead after being behind, and all of a sudden they're level again. And you know, you wouldn't be human if you start thinking a little bit negative, or you start getting a bit, you know, concerned. Some doubts start creeping into your mind. That I think that was it. It seemed just very messy in the box when the ball came in. But I was lauding Ramsdale ironically on the chat just before that, and I was saying every great championship winning, title winning team has a great goalkeeper, and that is still the fact. I still believe Ramsdale is that great keeper. He did make a couple of amazing saves in that game. He did.
Yeah,
You can't dispel it. He may have been I think to be honest, I don't like to single out players, especially when we've done such an amazing job against a hard team and such a significant victory. But if I think he'll be the first to probably take blame for that because I think he could have done better. He could have even punched it. He did flap it a little bit, but it's unusual for him. And I'm sorry, look, the greatest players that have ever walked this planet have made mistakes. We can't be perfect all of the time. And I guess that makes it a little bit more interesting as well. It's not nice for the heart. It's not good for our cardiac positions. But at the end of the day, it still makes it a little bit interesting. And you know what? This was such this so reminded me of the Wenger-Fergie era. It really did. It was on those levels. It really was. You know what Bez was talking about earlier about these young kids now emulating those greats. It's actually true, because this had all hallmarks of one of those games. It really did. And Partey, as I said, could have been a bit maybe responsible for the first goal, because he kind of messed up a little bit there and lost the ball. And Ramsdale possibly for I'd say if anyone, it was him, maybe responsible for the second. But I don't think we should dwell on it too much. I wouldn't say it's a concern, because it would only be a concern, Michael, if we'd played 19 games and lost 7.
Yeah.
We've played 19 games and lost 1. And actually the one that we lost, we say it all the time, we actually probably were the better team anyway. So it's not a concern for me. There are going to be mistakes still to come.
Yeah.
But I think we're good enough as a collective to mitigate those mistakes. That's the point I'm making. I really believe that. I think it will only make them stronger. They obviously learned from the last clash with Man United and didn't do the same thing. They didn't panic. Arteta didn't make silly 3 or 4 substitutions in one go and completely imbalance the team. And I think Trossard actually in his cameo was amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
So I think that's a wonderful signing. Obviously, I wasn't there with on your transfer things. I don't like doing such things, but I think he's a very clever, very special signing. I think he's going to really help the team big time, especially if we're going to be fighting on 3 fronts. We've got a very difficult tie against City obviously coming up, but if we can beat them, we who's to say we won't go all the way in the FA Cup as well?
Can I rudely interrupt you?
Yes, of course. Go for it.
I'm not here to tempt fate. Rest in peace, your soul. Jose Antonio Reyes, when we signed him in Invincible season, and I was still at the time 15 years old, which I remember.
Yeah.
He literally gave a little spark, a little speed, a little lift. And Trossard, as you said, Neil, the cameo that he had, even if it's for 10 minutes, even in his first Arsenal game, amazing stuff. The way he kept the ball, he literally was like this.
Yeah.
He like in a pinball. Literally, all the United players didn't know what to do. Like tackle him, foul him, put him. They're like, just what do we do? And the man will not take shit for an answer. And he literally delivered the little flick to Eddie. Yeah. And it was an assist, sadly, but I just felt amazing cameo. Just amazing 10 minutes, just out of the blue,
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good to know you got someone of that quality, to come in. And again, it's just what we talked about before, the levels, the quality won't drop. You're having someone like that coming in, doing 10, 15 minutes like that, and hopefully he'll be starting a game soon and up in the competition levels that we've got. So obviously we'll talk about one of the HALE boys, this guy. I mean, we talk. You could just probably write down any sort of figure you want for him. I've got a Man City mate. He's saying, he's only on 30 grand a week. I'm sure a few clubs are going to be after him. I was like, no, he's not going anywhere, mate. He's not going City. Don't worry. He's not going anywhere. We'll get a new contract for him. We might do one of Chelsea's ones, which is like giving everybody 8-year contracts, which they're doing to get past the FFP, whatever. But his performance tonight against an England national, against someone who would have been training with him day in, day out over in Qatar, would have probably known how to play him, let's say, how to play against him. But it didn't matter. He absolutely had Luke Shaw on toast. and you know, I can't remember. This must be his multiple number of games that he's played in a row. He's just an absolute freak of nature, isn't it, you Neil? I mean, what more can you say about? I mean, that goal. I mean, when he was cutting in on the left, I mean, I thought, no, he's not. I was thinking he's too far out. I was thinking, what are you doing? And when it bounced and it went in, I mean, yeah, we just went absolutely ballistic here. I mean, what can you say about this kid, Neil?
I don't know what else there is to say about Saka. I think sometimes you've got to step away as an Arsenal fan and think about what you think of other world-class players that play for the big glamour teams and how excited we get at some skill or amazing piece of work that they do. And we're like, oh my God, did you see that? Did you? And I think as Arsenal fans, we don't give ourselves enough credit for our own players because I think we're so involved and embroiled in it. You know, we see amazing things like this, and yes, we'll laud it and we will give it all the praise in the world. But if you were looking out for as a non-Arsenal fan and looking at him and seeing what he's doing, you know, people will be thinking, especially, you know, even clubs abroad who might be interested in trying to poach him away from us, that they would be like thinking, oh my God, this guy at the moment, I think he's got to be one of the best players, informed players out there in the world of football today. Because he's not really doing anything wrong. If you think about the way he plays, his tenacity, his resilience, and the resilience thing is a big factor for me because he gets kicked about so much, yet he just carries on. He just carries on. He carries on. Every time he gets knocked, you'll think, oh no, is he going to be out for a while? And he gets up and he just carries on. And it's like, I don't know, as I said to you before, I don't know what the guy's made out of, but he is something else. And what is so amazing about him is his tender age. And he's playing so above his years. He really is. He's got a maturity about him. He's got that humbleness, and he's very grounded, which I like, which I think keeps him, you know, keeps him at the level because he's not getting carried away with what he's doing. And you've still got to remember, even if you talk about seasons past, it was him and Hemel Smith Rowe that were carrying us through that really hard period. And for a guy of his age to do that and still come away unscathed, he came away unscathed from that awful nonsense that he had to deal with after the European Championship and missing that penalty. And he comes away and he just gets better and better and better. And I'll tell you something, we will do so well to hold on to him for the rest of his career because I think he's going to keep producing these levels for a long, long time, as with the rest of the squad. I mean, what he did today, I mean, he almost did it twice. It wasn't once.
Yeah.
He had another one. If it wasn't for the deflection, that would have gone in as well. You know,
amazing.
And you know, the first one was world class, and I just loved it because, like you said earlier, with the Rashford thing, you know, what do you think he could do? I can do better. And he proved it, and he ended up on the winning side, so it actually is significant. I don't know what else to say about him. I mean, you could. I just don't want to. My only concern, Michael, is this. I don't want any of us to take him for granted.
No.
Because he's very, very special. And I think he needs that accolade, that he is something out of this world.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's pretty much got the PFA Young Player of the Year award nailed down, unless Haaland wins it because he may be the same sort of age as him when what he's done. But Bez, in terms of, I've got something which I've got a graphic here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's from James sent it over to me, and this was before. I think it was before today's game. So you'll say he's got 13 goal contributions against the Big Six. So he's right up there, obviously, with Lukaku. You've got Neil's mate Dele Alli there. You've got Phil Foden, Marcus Rashford.
What is Dele Alli doing on that list? Take him off.
Well, yeah, it just goes to show. I mean, the guy just he absolutely peed away his career, didn't he? You know, with what he was doing at the beginning. But again, I mean, it just shows you just you know. I think it's Neil's spot on in terms of taking it for granted because amazingly, absolutely amazingly, on the Twitter, some idiots in the fan base have been sort of taking shots at Martinelli, saying Martinelli needs to pull his finger out and this and that. And again, you know, it's just so quick to forget what this kid's gone through and what he's done, what he's delivered for the club. And there's people actually saying, yeah, and then obviously there's people slating El Neni and Holding and just wonder, like, what is this? Why do they always need to have someone to have a go at? You know, because Soon it will be ESR when he comes in, and maybe he doesn't hit the ground running, and then they're saying, "Oh yeah, we should sell it." But yeah, I think Saka, again, because we haven't bought him for 70, 80 million, I think sometimes what he does and the effort and everything, what he does go on the radar a little bit, and he doesn't get the sort of protection that other players will get. I mean, what can you say about him, Bez? I mean, again, like Neil said, I'm lost for words in terms of how good he was today.
Well, quite simply, given the situations, we know ESR struggled with this injury he had, beginning of the season, fine. I get as a total football fan, I'm a fan of his. Martinelli, again, I do understand because he plays different side on the left. At the same time, I think all three just need to realize, keep your head down, be humble that you are, and just remember, you can't please everyone. Simple as that. We're not living this life to please anyone anymore. Everyone knows in this day and age, the last 3 years have been difficult in our lives. Thank God we can talk about it now freely. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, in particular, I have to say, the way Saka, the way he's kept himself up there with things he's been through, as Neil said, post Euro 2020, he's just amazing character, amazing charismatic fellow, the way he talks, the link of, just the way the boy just throws himself. I won't call him a boy because he's a man now, but the way he comes across is just easygoing. Just takes on the chin. Do you see the challenge that just was mentioned earlier? He says, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it," and he literally did it. Yeah. And now when he sunk in, you can see in the game, they feel like, "Oh my God, I just have an achievement to be in that bracket with Henry and Ljungberg." Yeah. Which like now he's going to give another extra lift, maybe another dimension.
Yeah.
Just exhilarating, even as a football fan. Who's heroes growing up. Like literally, I was, as I think I told Neil, I don't think I told you, Michael, and I think I was there for, Ljungberg, so I was there, I think one of the games he was before Emery took over, and I just felt that the atmosphere was amazing.
Yeah.
And I go to games Emery took over, the atmosphere completely different, because it felt like when you have a player that played for Arsenal as a manager, I feel like our fans connect with them more. Yeah. So I think now you can see with our so I say that HALE N boys.
HALE N boys, yeah.
Because us we feel more like, oh look, he's one of ours, but as Neil said, that's nothing for granted, but let's just keep him as it is. But my eyes again, to the fans out there, whoever hears this tonight, please, you need to realize we can't please you all the time. The players who play in row. You can see even in half. Yeah. Like Shah as well, like he's a midfielder. But for me, tonight, the way he's done the second half, he will go more push forward to say, look, utilize your good discipline he has now, thank God, touch wood. Yeah. But at the same time, he went forward. He made sure that so midfield was like, okay, yes, you know what, we're 2-2. As Neil said, we're not going to take the draw. We learned from our mistake in September. I was on holiday at the time. And I think I must have missed Neil said, what the hell is going on, man? What's going on here? We're playing so good. We're 3-1 down loss. And then to see tonight, a different side. I know at home, yes. His Emerson now, thank God, is more intimidating. Not the library, as I said. Definitely not the library tonight. Again,
loads of noise tonight.
And then the bigger tests, again, I'm sure, but so far all the tests we've been given, the list given so-called moment, I think we'll pass them with flying colours, no?
Yeah, I think Melvin, who we know, Melvin Marks, he mentioned, I think he said a tweet, we still haven't beaten anyone above us in the league, so we can't really be tested. We haven't really been tested yet, have we? So that's probably why all the pundits keep saying it. But we'll have a look at this. Let me take the stuff at the bottom away. And even though that's a 3-2, but that's domination, no matter how you want to look at it, and whatever angle or agenda you'll hear on Sky Sports News, on Talk Sport, on BBC Match of the Day in a minute, I'm sure. Whatever way they try and dress it, that is absolute domination. The 63 touches in an opponent's box is apparently the highest amount of any team in the Premier League this season. The XP, obviously, almost 3 goals. We got that. United had an XP of less than half a goal. They got 2 goals, so it just shows you that they were kind of fortunate to get theirs. But yeah, so just have it out there that United weren't fortunate or unlucky to lose, which some people will try and dress up and say. And we'll have a look at this as well, just to Get it right, you know, so we can just see, you know, we won't look down there. We'll look up here, so obviously where we are, we've got 50 points. As we said, it's a record in terms of our start to the season, and yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to see us up there at this stage of the season. For me, I'm still looking at top 4. So I know Neil's disappointed in me, but I'm still looking at top 4. You know, you're looking at, okay, who's in 4th place? You know, how far away is 5th away from us? So just a stat for you guys: our neighbours, the Shadow Dwellers, the Trophy Dodgers, the Audi Cup 2019 winners, the summer transfer window 2022-23 season, which you're not going to win next season. The Orcs, they are actually closer to the relegation places than they are to us. And that's all I'll say about that. Check it out. They are closer to the relegation place than they are to the mighty Arsenal Football Club. And that is it. That's we can end the pod like that if you want. You know, that's how we're rolling. But yeah, so that's basically that's all I say about that. So just to finish up, guys. Obviously it's Friday. We're playing the FA Cup, you know, so early. Obviously, what you thinking about that? Do you want to go for it? Are you looking at the big picture? You know, you think you can obviously get one less game out of the way, and then obviously we can focus on the league, and then obviously the Europa, or you're doing half and half nil, or you obviously you want to. Obviously, if we were in a different position in the league, obviously, I'm sure like me, I'll be saying, yeah, let's go for it. But I think if we were at home against City, I think I'll probably go a little bit stronger, which is weird. But because we're away, I'm thinking, you know, their depth is just ridiculous. So you're going to be playing against a good side, regardless, a really good side, who have got a bit of a kick up the bum by Pep. I mean, but how would you approach Friday?
I'll be completely honest with you. I'm still reveling in the moment of today.
Yeah,
not even thought about what's coming. I think that's the first time I've ever been like that this season. That I just am so happy. Let's just take a step back, guys. Everyone was thinking January, what a tough run. We're going to play Newcastle, Tottenham, and Man United in 3 games. We've got 7 points out of 9. I mean, what else is there to say?
Yeah.
You can't say much more than that. And so today, feeling so unwell, having a bit of a rubbish time with life at the moment. Today was very inspirational for me. Really a massive lift. So that's all I'm really thinking about. Wasn't really thinking ahead, but it's a good question. It's a question that we always have to address on the pod. For me, you know me, Michael. Start the season quad. So for me, every match is important, because even the League Cup games, because for me it's all about momentum. It's that infectiousness. It's infectiousness. I can never say that word. Throughout the squad, whoever plays, even if the fringe players play, if they go onto the pitch because they're called on to do something, because they're stepping in to give others a rest, they need to up their game. They need to play well, because it's good for them. It's good for them, but it still keeps that momentum going. If we were to go to City in the FA Cup on Friday and things go disastrously wrong, we can't brush it off and say, well, it's only the FA Cup, it doesn't matter, our focus is on the league. For me, as an individual, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. I think we need to go in there. Look, if we go and with a great performance and we still come the wrong side of it, fair play. But I don't want us to go in there and be completely destroyed, because I don't think that's going to do us any favours. Not to say that will happen, but I'm just saying. So given that, look, the league is huge. I mean, the next league games are what? Is it Everton and Brentford, I believe? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we haven't got City for another couple of games after playing them in the FA Cup. We've got Trossard. He's got to start. Yeah. We've got to play him, especially after the way he played for the few minutes he came on. ESR, I mean, there's a chance. I mean, I'll be shocked if he's not in the squad for that. Yeah. I think a couple of the players potentially will be rested. but rested in the sense that they'll be relegated to the bench. They won't be completely out of it. Because if I know Arteta, if things get dicey, he'll call upon them to come and just like Oxford.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we shouldn't have really been doing that. With all due respect to Oxford, the team that we put out there initially should have done the job.
Yeah.
So that worries me because obviously Man City are no Oxford, are they? I think there will be some changes. I think obviously the goalkeeper will change.
Yeah.
Turner's, for me, has been exceptional, by the way. So I really wouldn't mind him being there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the situation is with the guy that hasn't been signed but is there because he was in the stands.
Yeah.
There's that
Mm-hmm.
defender. Possibly, if they get him over the line, he's eligible to play. They might give him a go.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I've heard good things about him.
Do you know what happened to? Do you know what happened to Ben White? Was he injured? Or
I don't know. Actually, I was going to ask you guys. I have no idea what happened to Ben White. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Yeah.
I think Tierney will come in potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that will change. El Neni maybe, but I don't know. But I think Arteta's not going to want to completely change it because I think he'll want to go for it. The FA Cup is historically is very precious to us. We're the record holders in that competition, and I don't think he'll want to just give up without a try.
Yeah.
So I think I know I've gone about it in a very long way, so I apologise. You probably want to finish the pod, but I think it's going to be a bit of a mix, maybe a 60-40 mix. Of senior and players coming from the reserves. Yeah,
I think pretty much the same. Yeah, Bez, what are you thinking?
I'll say sorry. I was just checking on Ben White's situation, but I think just utilize, as Neil says, use what you have, protect the main, protagonists. Be careful with what you throw out there, because say you got, of course, we got City, which is again we know it's tough.
Yeah,
we got that machine, shall we call him now, in Holland. In all respect, but then again, I guess so far so good. Keep it this way. Keep using the same width, the same energy, the same desire, the same commitment. Again, this is me referencing from the Amazon show. Yeah, which gave me another wake up call. Why I actually love this football team, even not just as a sports team, but I'll say a football team that clearly we've suffered a lot the last 4 years. People forget this. Yeah, it includes other fan bases, certain media outlets, certain comedians, shall we say, certain haters. Even grew up in a city that people tell me, why do you support Chelsea? Why do you support Liverpool? Because for the love of God, I grew up in a beautiful city. They gave me a chance to support a team that brings us together, like you two. I'll say it right now, in this new year. I swear to God, I've not met you guys yet, but just to talk about this beloved club, just brings me so much joy, so much thrill, inside my heart. It's like wonderful.
Oh, good, man.
And it's very touching me to speak to you guys about it right now while I'm still here. Because I just feel like I've seen us in the worst of times, growing up the last, I'm 30. I'm 35 this year, but I just feel like, I'm just growing up so much to love this team even more. I tell even Neil, and I think I told him before, Alicia nearly gave up to support Arsenal because I just felt like we were going nowhere, Sadly, in the 08-09, I felt we're there, no. And I just felt like something was missing. Like, I won't blame Wenger. Again, I won't put fingers on anyone to say, okay, it was your fault. I just felt like we were bullied in a way, like as a whole business-run club. I just felt like now we just learn from this. Like, no, you don't. You pick up yourself. You get hurt. Resilience. The go-get attitude. Keep going up, as we say. Arsenal above all. Yes, we are above all, but right now, all these haters need to realize we're doing well. So let's keep you quiet for this given situation. Let's keep you quiet, zipped. Because, again, we can say names, but we don't want to. Me and you and Neil simply we're true fans that we clearly enjoy the moment, which is right now. Today, as Neil said, we enjoy the 30-game win, which means we had a great win. We showed resilience, 100%. Character. And even I can talk on forever if I could, but,
100%. No, I totally get you. We have been through it. We have been through it a lot. And I think that's why... I think that's why a lot of people used us as banter, and what do you call it? They call us Banter FC. They should call us Banter FC, and then obviously everything else, and then they say that we're irrelevant, we're a nothing club. There was a quote I heard the other day, and I saw it, and then it's basically something that Gandhi said about Arsenal. It says, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. And I think we're at that stage now where we became irrelevant, and then they talk about you, and then obviously that's what Klopp's doing with some of these subliminal shots he's taking at Arsenal, and then he's something really classless, like what he said about his fans at game, which I won't mention, but it just sums the guy up. And now they're fighting us. They're throwing fines at us. They're booking our manager for showing some passion on the touchline. They're, and then we're winning, and then we do it. So I think that's it at the moment. So it's us against the world, and so be it. But on that note, guys, it's been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure talking to you this evening on the back.
Sorry, Michael, I have to step in. Sorry.
Yeah,
we are letting the football do the talking. Yeah, all this stuff that Klopp's coming out with, Richard Keys is coming out with, all of these idiots. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
exactly.
Klopp has done wonders, but you are so classless. You are not fit enough to polish Wenger's shoes. So don't be bringing up that rubbish.
Yeah,
and I won't mention what he said because there's no point. But I just do not be bringing up that rubbish.
Yeah,
it makes me sick. And sorry, Bez. All right, go on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to say one thing. You can't end the pod without mentioning the celebrations at the end. So Richard Keys, just go away, right? And what I really liked, I mean, it was all great to see. I was in tears at one point, but Jesus hugging Eddie was so significant. I think James or Jack mentioned it on the WhatsApp chat, but I saw that and I thought that is significant.
Yeah. Team spirit,
you know what that tells me? You know what that tells me? It's not like, oh my God, you're taking my place.
Yeah.
That tells me we're all in this together. And that is the ethos and the culture that Arteta, that is down to Arteta. All of this. So I want to give, for once, rather than praising all the players, I'm praising Arteta. I think he's done a magnificent job. That man is a genius, and you watch him get better and better.
He is absolutely spot on, Neil. Yeah, what he's built in that short space of time, not just on the pitch, but just the mentality, like you said, the philosophy, the spirit, the team spirit is unreal. You know, we've watched, what we watched a few years ago, just going under Emery and towards the end of Wenger, and people just chucking it in and not caring. And now you've got like all these guys that are just, they're in it. It's a brotherhood. So. Long may it continue. No, I won't keep you much longer. Thanks so much, guys, for your time. Buzzing now. I might get to watch a bit of Match of the Day just to savor it in again and watch some of the post-game analysis from a salty and very bitter Roy Keane. And one final thought tonight. Just think, as we're getting tucked up into bed, or we're watching Match of the Day with a nice drink, as you raise a toast to the boys from Red and White, just think Gary Neville is going to be on the train home all the way back to Manchester crying, that his beloved Man United, got turned over tonight. And that for me is probably one of them, just it's a little cherry on the cake after a brilliant win. So thanks very much to Bez, Kelmendi. Hope to have you back soon, man. Good to have you on. And obviously the man, Neil Champions, no fair elect. Keeps changing his bloody name. Keep getting his flipping name wrong.
Sorry, I have to put it out there.
Mine was established 1886, so I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, you bloody old. You look well for your age, mate. Yeah. And I've been Michael Harris. So thanks very much. Thanks for all the support to the pod. We're on Spotify and other podcasts that you can download as well. We'll be back probably maybe Friday night, or probably the most likely Saturday night, just talking about the games and obviously any news, if you've had any more signings or anything else as well. So thank you. All the best. Come on, you guys.